Hello and welcome to this Checkmate in 3 chess puzzle made by Sam Loyd in 1879. Black just has the king and a pawn left. White has the king, queen, knight and pawn. It's White's turn. Can you see the checkmate in 3? Moving your knight to b6 isn't a mate in 3, but it is mate in 4. Black king is forced to take your pawn. You can then move your king up to e5. And the king is forced to move up to c6. So you can move your queen to b4, which forces the king up again. And then you can move your queen over to d6 to checkmate in 4. Advancing your pawn isn't a mate in 3 unless black decides to advance their pawn. Then you can advance your pawn again. The black king can't move, so if they advance their pawn again, you can promote your pawn to a queen to get a mate in 3. Black can prevent the mate in 3 by taking your pawn. Now you can only get a mate in 4 by moving your knight to b6, forcing the king up to c5. And you can do the surprise move to move your king to f4, which forces the king up to d6, and then you can move in the queen for just the mate in 4. Checking the king by moving your queen to d4 won't get you a mate in 3 unless the king makes the mistake of moving to b5, because then you can check with the knight, and then no matter where the king goes, you can mate in 3 with the queen. Black can save the mate in 3 by moving their king to b3. You can then move the king across to prevent the king from escaping. Black tries to advance their pawn. You can move the queen over. So now the king is forced to move to a3. Again, you can move the king over. Now black has to move the pawn, and you can move in the queen for just the mate in 5. Okay, let's have a look at the solution to this one. So pause the video if you need some more time. To get the checkmate in 3 for white, you need to move the queen to a3. If the black king moves to b5, you can move your king to d5 to protect the pawn. Then if the black king moves to a5, you can do a reveal check with the queen to checkmate in 3. If black decides to push the b pawn rather than move the king, you can move your queen to b2. The black king can't move, and if they push the pawn again, you can move the queen to c3 to mate in 3. If black decides to take your pawn with their pawn, you can move the knight to b6 to do the checkmate. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.